As Russia continues with its invasion of Ukraine, we'll take a look at how it impacts energy prices. Forum Daily's weekly energy update with Dan McTeague up now.
Well, thank you very much for that, Nima. What a depressing week this has become, and I think it's exceeded everyone's expectation. Russia now has a free hand to take over the Ukraine, emboldened by green policies. Make no mistake, the fact that Europe is vulnerable, needs natural gas, needs oil, the fact that Europe has gone through 20 years of shutting down nuclear, coal, refusing to frack natural gas, all of these things are now starting to play right into the hands of the despot dictator Vladimir Putin. If Ukraine is now vulnerable to a fall, so is Eastern Europe. So are countries such as in the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. What's next? The reality is that Canada has completely dropped the ball. Rather than improving our energy, our natural gas and our oil and getting pipelines to markets to push back on potential dictators like Vladimir Putin, we've chosen instead to turtle. Bury our heads in the sand. And as a result, it's very clear that the Greens here have brought war to Ukraine. Canada can turn this around, though. If it does understand what's happened here, one of the major things we need to do as a country is to ban all vessels that are foreign flagged and Russian flagged into any Canadian territorial waters. The United States thinks it's cool to have 600,000 barrels of Russian oil going to that country every day. Don't let them go through Canadian waters. Second of all, don't allow any more of the $500 million in Russian oil that we bought last year to ever grace our shores again. Finally, Justin Trudeau needs to bring in meaningful sanctions, not the toothless stuff, on anything to do with Russian oil or gas or the banking facilities within it. Otherwise, these sanctions are just a lot of hot air and talk. We can do more for Ukraine and more for the cause of democracy by reinforcing our energy security with our energy supplies. Having said that, we're not going to see much in the way of any big increases in the price of gas. 3 cents a litre tomorrow on Saturday in Eastern Canada. But for the rest of the country, probably no change with the exception of lower mainland Vancouver, which will see $1.83.9 a record, but that'll drop a penny or two likely by Sunday or even into next week. The reality is that we may have thought we dodged a bullet by not having oil prices increase, but the decision by the Biden administration, Justin Trudeau, NATO, and Western leaders to appease and mollify Vladimir Putin's oil strategy puts the country in a far greater risk than any time in the past. It's time to write your members of parliament and tell them to take the issue of energy security seriously, and that Canada shouldn't be importing any oil from anywhere, not when we have the third largest provable reserves in the world, not just of oil, but natural gas. We should also be spending a bit more time on using the Emergencies Act that Trudeau imposed for 36 hours after Parliament passed it before rescinding it, to go after people and villains who are doing harm to our energy infrastructure, whether that be natural gas or oil. And now a full and thorough review of the charities, so-called charities, who bring in foreign funding to serve as obstacles for our natural gas and our oil sector. Nothing short of these recommendations will put a message back to Vladimir Putin that the world has had enough of people who take advantage and put the world in a very serious predicament and a precarious position, the likes of which this generation has never seen. This is 1938, 1939 all over again. It's time for Canada to use its muscle, to use its energy prowess to help save the world. Because at the end of the day, the sanctions that we have provided, that we have suggested without military backup, put the world in a far more dangerous position than anything I have seen, certainly in my lifetime. Nima, I'm sorry to give the bad news, but this is a very serious situation. It's about to get a whole lot worse if Canada doesn't move to act and encourage other members to do it. I've set out a menu of things that I think we ought to be doing. I'm not going to focus on gasoline because I think the bigger issue is our national security. We share a border with Russia. Let's be prepared and let's give and beat the Russians at this and Vladimir Putin in particular, at the very game that he's trying to hoodwink the rest of the world with. That's all I have to say for now, but let's talk about this next week and likely maybe get back on track as to what real governments are prepared to do to stand up to a dictator. That's it. Take care and bye for now, Nima.
Some sobering thoughts there, Dan. Thanks for that. That was Dan McTeague, Senior Petroleum Analyst at Gaswizard.ca and the President of Canadians for Affordable Energy.